In this video, I'm going to be surviving 200 days in Minecraft Hardcore. So far, I've survived 100 days, but can I survive 200? Watch till the end to find out. If you don't know, Hardcore is normal Minecraft, but if you die, the world ends. And today, I show you my journey. I managed to obtain full Netherite armor. I was able to kill both the Ender Dragon and Wither, but finally, I built this beautiful pineapple. I'm going to show you my journey from 100 to 200 days of Minecraft Hardcore. And if you guys go on to enjoy this video, consider subscribing and dropping a like on this video. Anyway, let's get into it. On day 101, I knew that I had to start working quickly if I wanted to complete my goals. I started off by mining melons and then selling them for 2 days straight. I wanted to get a beacon so that I could get haze 2. Once I could get haze 2, I could start to terraform the terrain around me and make it look a lot nicer. But for now, it stayed the same. This is how many emeralds I needed to make a max beacon, and after converting it to blocks, it looks like a lot less. This took me 4 days to complete, but to be honest, it was pretty easy. All I did was watch some videos while farming, and finally I was done with it. On day 105, I wanted to move all my villagers to somewhere nice, and I decided on a place that would work perfectly. I removed the mole spawner, I was going to make a new one in the end, and made a new building just for the villagers. I wanted to make an iron golem farm at some point as well. This also took me 2 days just to build it, and then another day just to move the villagers across to the new place. I did this because I wanted to have an easier way to trade with them, and also make it a lot nicer. On day 107, I had to change the villagers back to normal villagers. This happened because I literally just forgot to cover them up, so just any zombie could come along and just change them into zombie villagers. So it was pretty annoying, so I had to use all of my golden apples and also make weakness potions just so that they could get back to normal villagers and so I could trade with them again. Also, my mending villager like despawned or something. I don't even know what happened to him. I caught him in like a little box because I didn't get him into the like villager trade area, and he literally just disappeared. I also changed the zombie villager that I caught in the first 100 days just back into a normal villager. I don't think he had any trades, but yeah, I just changed him back to a normal villager because I thought I would need another one. For the rest of day 107 and also into day 108, I mined my melons and then sold them to the villagers. Now that they were insta breaking, it was pretty easy to actually mine them, and it wasn't that boring because, you know, the sound's quite nice. I sold them to the villagers because they were buying them for 1 melon each, and I could get a ton of emeralds easily, so I literally just sat and sold them all my melons. But then for the rest of day 108, I just sat AFK in my base because I forgot to leave and I was eating some cereal. On day 109, I didn't really do too much, but I knew that I needed to protect the villagers from the zombies, so I covered up the villager that was on its own with just a few blocks of blackstone, and then also I made a small little housing area for the rest of them, which hopefully should work. I made it so there's 2 trapdoors as the door, which means I think zombies can't get through because they can't crouch, so hopefully that'll work and hopefully they're protected. Also, I forgot to mention that I made my beacon on day 108, but basically I just used the blocks from trading with the villagers and then also the nether star I got in the first 100 days, and yeah, I just made the beacon. On day 110, I began to make my villager breeder. I took 2 of the villagers that I had spare, so the one that didn't have any trades and the one I caught in the first 100 days, and I moved them into the old trading area. I then made the floor like all wheat so that they could then pick up that wheat and hopefully breed pretty easily and make more villagers. Also, while they were doing that, I went out to go make an iron farm because, you know, why not? I may as well get more iron and I could probably make a beacon from it. So I gathered all the resources that I needed and I began to make my iron farm. I wanted to follow a guide on it because I didn't really know how to make one and I didn't want to mess it up and waste loads of time, so I followed everything from this one video. I can't really remember what it was, but I followed everything and I finally built myself a small iron farm. Also, having to move the villagers and zombies up wasn't that hard. I had to get 3 villagers and 1 zombie. I literally just made them go on a minecart on rails, and they literally, it wasn't even that hard because I had so many rails. And also when I tried recording getting the zombie in, it literally just recorded like a slideshow, so I've only got like 3 different still images of the zombie getting in, and just trust me on this, I literally had to get it to just follow me up. It wasn't hard at all. On day 112, I remembered that I actually had a house and I haven't been using it. So I decided that I wanted to work on it a bit and make it a lot easier to live in because, you know, I'm supposed to. Anyway, I started to fill up the chest room with items and then sorted them out. I did this for like a whole day because, you know, how annoying it is to sort items, and because I had so many items just everywhere in my base. So it took a whole day, and when I woke up the next day, I saw how many iron golems my villagers had spawned. It wasn't even the ones from the farm. It was literally just the trading villagers, and they spawned so many iron golems. I think I counted it up to be like 10, but why? Why can't they just spawn where I want them to spawn? Speaking of my iron farm, I went over there and there was another 2 iron golems. I think it's like 12 iron golems on my base at the moment, and suddenly they just disappeared, the ones by my actual farm. I don't know how, because obviously I wouldn't do anything to hurt them, but still. Also, I checked my iron amount when I was there, and it was now at over 2 stacks, which I was pretty happy with. On day 114, I wanted to try and clear out a few of the iron golems because they were getting pretty annoying. So I used my AK-47, which is my bow, and destroyed them, and I also did a few trick shots in there, which was, you know, really just not cool. And then, yeah, they were gone, and I took all my melons from their chest after that, and traded most of them to my villagers. This took me like 2 days because I had to wait for the villagers' trades to stop. So I got quite a lot of emeralds, and hopefully I can start to make a second beacon or even extend my other beacon in the future. From day 117 to day 120, I made myself a nether hub. And also, I made a path straight to where the end portal was. This took me ages because I actually had to go to the end portal and then put a nether portal there, and then go back into nether and make a path straight to it. Anyway, I filled in the surrounding area so no mobs could spawn in there, and I was done with it. On day 121, I wanted to get prepared to make my enderman farm. I knew it was going to take a while, so I made sure to get everything ready, and I also dedicated a whole day just to it. I made myself an auto smelter because I wanted to make my enderman farm out of stone, because why not? And then also I went out to shear some sheep and get leaves. All of this took me into day 122, which is where I will be finally going back into the end for the second time to build this massive farm. From day 122 till day 124, I made this really simple enderman farm. I think people may have made this before, but this is basically what I make every single time I do one of these farms, so yeah. Also, I'm too scared to go near the void, so I didn't really want to make one over there, and I would most likely die if I did. Anyway, I basically just cleared out a massive area for it and made this really simple farm. Basically, the endermen just go towards the endermite and then drop down a 42 block hole where I can go and one-hit them. The staircase down is a bit annoying because, you know, it'll probably be a lot easier if I just had like a drop down into water, but I couldn't really be bothered to do that yet, and I'll probably do that in the future. Also, I made a small collection area so that I could then have an endless supply of ender pearls, which I probably won't need, but if I do need them, then I have a lot. When I finished the farm and I broke the blocks by the endermite, just look how good this looks. Like, all the endermen just rushing straight to it. Like, it's so good. I know I needed some more mending books, so from day 124 till day 126, I spent the whole time getting myself a mending villager. It literally took so long because none of them wanted to give it to me, and when I finally got it, it took so long just to get the villager into a minecart that he just didn't go in. Then after he finally got in, I had myself a mending villager again. On day 127, I spent the whole day trading with villagers. I found a villager with a Silk Touch book, Smite 5, and then finally Infinity. I needed these books to further upgrade my weapons to make it easier to kill things. On day 128, I went back to the end to repair my tools. I wanted to make sure they wouldn't break, which would make me use another netherite ingot. I didn't really do too much this day because I was just really tired and wanted to kill some endermen. From day 129 until day 131, I started to make my sugarcane farm. It took me a while because I needed to go mining to get some redstone and cobblestone, and I needed them to make some pistons and observers. After making the sugarcane farm, it looks pretty ugly, but I needed one for paper. On day 132, I went out to find the pillager outpost again. I wanted to defeat a raid after I lost to one in the previous 100 days, and I knew exactly where it was. So I got straight to work killing the ones with the banner, and I heard Bad Omen 5 is better than Bad Omen 1 because you get like more totems or something, but I just wanted to try it out. From day 132 until day 133, I just killed pillagers. And yes, it took a whole day. The ones with a banner just didn't spawn in, and I tried running away, flying around, and even went to the top of the tower, but they just didn't spawn. At this point, I needed 2 more to get Bad Omen 5, and after getting really annoyed and getting ready to fly away, both of them spawned. I killed them and knew instantly that I wanted to go to my home village to do the raid because all of my villagers are protected. On day 133 through day 136, 6 I did the raid. I wanted to be as careful as possible because I nearly died last time I tried this, but it was really easy. They literally just piled up below the iron golem farm and let me shoot them with my bow. Eventually, if they did go for me, I just took them straight to my army of iron golems and they didn't survive at all. There was one sad part though, and one casualty in this whole fight, Steve the Pineapple Protector. He was a good golem and I thought he was strong enough, but for 20 pillagers, I was wrong. From day 136 until day 140, I went back to the Nether. Having only one beacon was pretty annoying as I would have to change it for different things. So I went back to the fortress. I was thinking about making a wither skeleton farm, but it would probably take me all the way to day 180 and I didn't really want to waste that much time. So I was in the Nether for 4 days searching for wither skulls. I got the first 2 within 2 days, but the last one, however, it took a while. Firstly, they just wouldn't spawn anywhere near me. Like, I couldn't see any where I was. There was multiple spots where they could spawn and they just didn't. I thought it could do with the entities and there was too many, so I killed a few blazes and still nothing. I ran around for a bit and I think waited for 5 to 10 minutes and finally like 6 or 7 spawned and I got the final skull. On day 141, it was the day again. The wither was pretty easy last time and I wasn't too worried. I took a gapple with me just in case and I spawned the wither. I'm going to pause it right here and comment right now what you think is wrong. Yeah, I may have forgot to put on my chest plate instead of my elytra and nearly died. But with the gapple and a quick change, I managed to heal and then went straight back into hitting it with my Smite 5 axe. Finally, I had a second beacon and obviously I put on a haste because it's the best one. I was thinking of like speed or regeneration, but just haste, I can use it for my melons and I can also have strength to kill anything that comes. On day 142, I wanted to defeat another structure, the Ocean Monument. I started off by making water breathing potions because I didn't really know how long I have to be underwater because I've never done one of these before. I knew that they were in the ocean, so I set out for a while and after quite some time, I finally found one. As I said, I've never been to one of these before and didn't know if I was over or underprepared. So I just went in. I was so confused at where I was supposed to go. I knew there was 3 big guardians and didn't know where they were supposed to spawn. I looked up on Google where they should be and eventually I finally found all 3. They were pretty weak for being a boss, but considering I wasn't the best armor in the game, I can see how they're kind of strong. I also saw online that sponge and gold were on these monuments, so I spent a bit of time finding them and picked them up as well. Hopefully in the future I can make a farm from these guardians to make a build or something out of prismarine. From day 143 until day 150 I went back to the end. Had some unfinished business with the shulkers and also forgot the dragon head the last time I went. The main reason I went here is because I wanted to get more shulker shells. I had a pretty big build coming up and I needed quite a lot of shulkers to fill the resources. I found a few end cities but only one of them had a boat, which is pretty annoying. So I just got myself a new elytra, 12 shulker shells, and also finally a dragon head. I then worked my way back home from a successful end trip. On day 151, I wanted to move away from this place. It was really messy and someone that's basically finished the game shouldn't be having this as a base. So I got to work. I wanted a base I could easily expand for new projects and something I could make with not too much work. I'm not much of a builder and usually get roasted for my builds, but I feel pretty confident about how this build would look and I made sure to get all my shulkers ready for collecting resources. I collected sand and gravel for 5 days straight. I wanted to make concrete and to make the amount needed, it wouldn't be easy. After getting efficiency 5 and unbreaking 3 from my first enchant on the shovel, it was pretty easy. And I was also lucky that I had a desert and a place with a lot of gravel nearby. By the time I was done, I had over a shulker full of each and went back to my base to make it back into concrete. I also got the dye ready and got to work making it. The build was going to be mainly white with yellow and grey accents. It was also going to be a water build because I liked how easy it is to expand. From day 156 to day 158, I don't really want to waste your time, but basically I spent 2 days just making the concrete powder into the actual blocks. It was the most boring thing I've ever done, but finally it's time to build. From day 158 until day 170, I built. It was going to be one of my biggest builds ever, and I had made something like this in the realm with my friends, but nothing on this scale. Even spending 12 days on it and still being nowhere near the size I wanted it, I knew it'd take a while, but I wanted it to look like a Subnautica theme. If you don't know what it is, it's a game like underwater, and the builds look like this, and I just really like the style. The main area was the first thing I built, with a small dome area for something in the future. I also built an intersection for expansion and also an area where I could go under the water for builds there. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this build and hope I can make it a lot bigger. On day 170, I needed to go back to collecting sand and gravel to get more concrete. I had some ideas of making a farm and a villager trading area for the new house, but it would take a while. Instead of rushing things with this build, I want to make sure it looks good enough to call it my home. From day 171 to day 175, I spent the whole time making this farm. It took a while because of the layers it has, and having to use water to reach each block underneath was pretty hard. I wanted to still have a good supply of food while also being able to trade with villagers when I get them. On day 176, I made a small lookout area. It can be used for different things, such as somewhere to expand later or just for a nice view. I was running low on blocks at this point and needed to get more concrete if I wanted to build a huge area that I was planning to. I built the base of it and left it there. This area would be nearly double the size of the original place I built, but will still be used for storage and use for things like that. Building this area did move me on to day 177, where I was also running really low on blocks. On day 178, I wanted to have some sort of a villager area with the breeder. This would come in handy for the rest of the time I live in this place and could help me to progress. However, to get these villagers, it would take some time. This new base is nearly 2,000 blocks away from my original one, and transferring all of them would just take hours. So I decided to take my chances and try to spawn one naturally. It has a 5% chance to spawn, meaning if 20 zombies spawn, one of them will be a zombie villager. So guess what I did? I waited for 2 whole days with a small area that had a light level of 3 trying to get them to spawn. It took me 2 whole days to get my first one, and literally like 5 minutes later, the other one spawned. I didn't do too much in these days, apart from killing mobs and waiting for them to spawn again. So now that this 100 days is nearly over, I wanted to get a lot closer to finishing my build. This build would be a lot bigger than the main one and would be from the base I built earlier. The main thing about this build is it's going to be the villager breeder and the villager trading area. I don't want to have to change too much in the future, and having everything look nice was important, so I made everything look alright. I built it with 3 stories, one for the villagers and the other 2 for whatever I can come up with. I also made a separate one out the back so that the villagers can breed. I transferred the villagers to a new area and they looked pretty happy. Overall, all of this build took me 13 days and I'm pretty happy with it. It works well with the rest of the buildings, however, it is very hard to keep monsters from spawning. On day 195, I didn't do too much. I wanted to make the villagers start to breed. This would help me out to get more emeralds and eventually make me more beacons. I then started off by hoeing the land and then planting the potatoes to help them breed. From the rest of day 195 and for all of day 196, I sat AFK waiting for the villagers to breed. I don't like to AFK much in this world, and this was the only thing I could do at this point. In day 196, I went back to see my villagers. Now there was quite a lot of them. Anyway, for the rest of day 196, I moved villagers into their area and got them trades that I needed. I mostly needed farmers, but also wanted mending and other things such as Unbreaking 3. It took me the whole day because of the amount of villagers there were and how hard it was to get Unbreaking and mending. On day 197, I went back to the end to collect my beacon. I put it there when I went to the end to collect obsidian from the pillars, and I wanted to have multiple beacons soon. Maybe in the next 100 days I can get some more. Obviously I made the beacon have haste 2 and strength 2 just because they're the best in my opinion, and I also hoed the ground of my melon farm and then planted all of it. On day 198 I went back to the old base and collected all the stuff I needed at the base. I was going to make a chest room soon at the new base and needed to collect these items. I had a lot of emeralds and other items that would come in handy. On day 199 and on day 200, I wanted to do something amazing again. In the previous 100 days, the last few days made a lot of progress, but however, this time, I wanted to make even more progress. I got everything ready and made sure to put Unbreaking 3 on all of my armor and tools, and then I waited for the right time. I sat AFK and completely forgot to come back. When I did, it was day 201, which means now it is the end of the video.